Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Vedic Living. My name is Shri, and today I want to talk to you about this coming year, 2024. This is going to be an exciting year. So much activity, so many events happening, and we are going to go over some of the highlights of this coming year. But at the same time, I want to focus more on the month of January because the month of January is a turning point. Because I've told you in the past that all the planets being retrograde since September of 2023, we've had one by one planets going retrograde. And by the time we were at October timeframe, most of the planets were retrograde. So here's the thing, when planets are retrograde, things move backwards. Just like the planets are moving backwards, or they look like they're moving backwards from our vantage point. Uh, they're not actually moving backwards, right? What's happening is that the speed of Earth has, the relative velocity or the relative speed is higher. So the planets look like they're going backwards, but they are not. But here in astrology, when planets go retrograde, we notice that our lives slow down. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a time to review, reassess, reevaluate things, and kind of bring a closure to things that we've done in the past. Okay. Um, when planets go retrograde, we tend to try to push things to make things happen, and we get disappointed. So that's why people say, oh, when a planet is retrograde, I could not start this project, or I could not start my new business. There were all these obstacles that were lined up. The reason for that is that a retrograde planet usually requires you to review, reassess, and make sure that whatever you've started in the past is at a good point of culmination and that you can complete it before you move forward. And that is why whenever we see these retrograde cycles, we see a lot of planets retrograde at the same time. And then right after that, there's a period where everything goes direct. And the reason behind that is that the planets, they kind of bring that energy around you where you feel like you're not able to start something new, or there are issues happening in your life. It's asking you to slow down. And that's what I was telling you back in October, that yes, it may seem like things are stuck and you have all these obstacles in front of you, but this is a period to slow down, to reassess, to make sure that what you've already started, those projects are completed. So the reason I'm explaining this is that the last few months of 2023, almost all the planets were retrograde. And we were talking about that because a lot of times, when planets are retrograde, they cause problems like wars around the world, which it did, because retrograde planets make you rethink about what you want to do, what your truth is, what your sense of justice is. And a lot of times we notice when these planets are retrograde, people rise up with, contention. There's a lot of contention and disagreement and arguments and those kind of things happening. And with that retrograde movement, the last few months of 2023, we noticed that there was issues around the world, right? There were wars that started, especially when Jupiter went retrograde in September. And then going into October, there were major conflicts around the planet. Now, as of December 31st, we are going into a period where all the planets are direct. So they're all going forward now. So this is a very important turning point in a good way, because now you will notice that things that you have felt were stagnant in the last few months will start moving forward now. You will start seeing action in all those areas that you have put on hold. So it is a very positive and uplifting time frame that we are going into here. Now, the year of 2024, there are some major events that are going to happen. Most of them will cause some issues and unrest around the world. So I'm going to talk about some of the highlights. and then we'll mainly focus on the month of January. So before we go forward, let's talk about my website. I have a website, Vedic-living.com. That's www.vedic-living.com. Make sure you go to my website and use the free chart calculator to see what your ascendant or your moon sign is, because towards the end of this video, I will be talking about sign-by-sign predictions for the month of January 2024. And another thing that I want you to do is, while you're there, sign up for my free newsletter, because I send out a lot of information in my newsletters, which, much more than what I talk about here on YouTube. So I hope to see you there. Now let's go forward and talk about the month of January. So as I said, on December 31st, Jupiter is going to go direct. This is a big deal because Jupiter has been retrograde since September. And whenever Jupiter, the largest planet in the sky, goes retrograde, it really does impact things on this planet. Once it goes direct on December 31st, depending on what the sign Aries is in your chart, areas of that sign or whatever that sign rules, things are going to start moving forward for you. Everything that you felt were kind of moving backwards, that feeling like you make one step forward, 3 steps backwards, those areas where you felt like things were holding you back, it's all going to start moving forward. Now, I have to tell you, December 31st, there's still one planet in the sky that's retrograde, and that's Mercury. So Mercury is going direct only on the 2nd of January. I think it's going retrograde on the 1st of January in the night. So the 2nd of January is when it's direct. So we have another day before all the planets are direct. But this is huge. This is huge. This is a total change from what we have seen in the last few months of 2023. All the planets direct, everything moving forward, things are looking good. Things are going to start pushing with momentum and speed forwards. So that's good. That's good for all the projects that you put on hold. Now, January, and as we know, already Mars has moved out of Scorpio as of now. So that's a big thing, right? Because I talked to you about how treacherous Mars was in Scorpio. Mars, in those nakshatras in Scorpio, it causes problems. It causes arguments and disagreements, and you just don't agree, with a lot of points of view. And Mars moving into Sagittarius is a good thing for the month of January. Let me tell you why. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And where is Jupiter placed? It's placed in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So this is what we call a mutual exchange. This is a Parivartana Yoga between Jupiter and Mars, which means that when these planets are in exchange, they empower the houses that they rule. It's almost like they are in each other's houses, right? So they become very strong there. Imagine you own a house. So Jupiter owns Sagittarius. Mars is living in Jupiter's house. So Jupiter is a landlord, right? But now Jupiter is living in Mars' house, right? In Aries. So it's almost like the two landlords are living in each other's homes. So they cannot misbehave because the other person is living in this landlord's home, right? So when you think of exchange planets or Parivartana planets, it means that those signs are really strong for whatever they rule, even if this happens in your natal chart. Mutual exchange or Parivartana planets are very, very strong in a chart. Okay, I think the strongest planet in the chart is, of course, the chart ruler. And then if you have a Vargotama planet, that is really strong. But Parivartana would come right after that, right? Because they can't do any wrong in those houses. But you have to remember, if those houses have difficult meanings, then that can come out too, right? Whatever that house stands for is really accentuated in the person's life. So similarly, in the month of January, when this exchange happens between Sagittarius and Aries, it empowers those houses. So when we talk about sign-by-sign predictions at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about what those are for each sign, okay? Now, but regardless, thinking about Jupiter in Aries and Mars in Sagittarius. Mars is the planet of action. So wherever Mars goes in a certain month is the kind of energy, the kind of action that we'll see around the planet. Sagittarius is the natural ninth house. It rules legal matters. It rules truth and justice, law. Okay? So with Mars being in Sagittarius, this is a very important situation, because this means that all the action, everything that Mars is doing, or all the action of people around the world is directed towards finding the truth. So you notice, just for an example, I know there's many countries in the world, but I'll take an example of United States. We have a former president and a current president, both in legal battles with each other, right? So they're throwing cases at each other, they're throwing legal battles at each other. And that's the idea of the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, being the natural ninth house, rules legal matters. When a ninth house is strong in a person's chart, they're naturally good at debating. They're good at legal things. Another really interesting thing happening in January is that on January 11th, we have the new moon. Now, every month you have a new moon and a full moon, right? But this one in January is very important, because on January 11th, when the new moon happens, it is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius. Why is that important? Because there are two other planets in the sky which are at 26 degrees, Rahu and Ketu. The nodes of the moon are at 26 degrees of Virgo and Pisces right now. Remember, the nodes have moved in November of 2023. So they are going to be in the Pisces-Virgo axis for another 18 months. But the new moon in a certain month is incredibly telling of what that month's energy is going to be. The fact that the new moon in January is at 26 degrees of Sagittarius, it's exactly midpoint between the nodes, because the nodes are placed in Pisces and Virgo. So thinking about a South Indian style chart, you think of those corners, right? So that 26-degree mark in Sagittarius becomes the midpoint. What does that mean? That means that whatever is transpiring in the month of January is going to set the tone for the rest of the year. All these legal matters, all these court cases, all the disagreements that are happening with that ninth house righteousness and contention, right? It's going to set the tone for the rest of the year, because whenever a planet or a new moon comes midpoint between the nodes, it's destiny. It's telling us what the karma is. It's bringing us karmic lessons from the past. This is going to set the tone for the entire year. And that's why the month of January is such a turning point. Then when I started this video, I was telling you that, because there are a couple of things happening with this parivartana between Jupiter and Mars, with the new moon being at the midpoint of the nodes. This is a very important time frame. Now, what is going to happen is this whole year, of course, I'm going to make very detailed month-by-month prediction videos as we go into each month. But I want to give you some highlights of this year. In the month of April and going into May 1st, Jupiter is going to move signs. Jupiter is going to move into Taurus. Now, before that, in the month of April, we have a monumental, very important transit happening. This is the transit, or the conjunction, of Jupiter and Uranus. This is very important because Uranus rules technology, inventions, breakthroughs, out of this world kind of thoughts and processes. It is what inspires people. When you think about these big inventions that have been done, it's always something that, has to, there's a transit of Uranus happening at that time. Now, Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is very monumental in the month of April of 2024, because the last time the similar conjunction happened, or one of the times this conjunction happened, was in the year 1969, when the first moon landing happened. So think of that energy. Uranus being those inventions and breakthroughs and, amazing technology. That's all Uranus. And then Jupiter is expansion. It magnifies anything that it comes close to. So this conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus will bring amazing new inventions, breakthroughs, especially in the medical field. Okay. And I'm talking about the year 2024, but the conjunction is happening in April. But the tone is going to be for the whole year. Now, with all that talk about technology and inventions and breakthroughs, we also have to remember Uranus rules Earth changes. And being together with Jupiter and that conjunction with Jupiter, it does cause volatility around the world in terms of earthquakes and storms and unpredictable events like that. Okay, so we have to remember that, especially earth changes and earthquakes are a major thing whenever Uranus comes in conjunction with Jupiter. But I'm going to give you another time frame, which is going to happen in the month of around the month of August and September, when Jupiter is in Taurus, which, remember, Taurus is an earth sign, and Saturn is in Aquarius. And that, again, going back, the last time that happened, where Jupiter was in Taurus and Saturn was in Aquarius, or one of the times that happened, was the year 1906, when we had the great earthquake in San Francisco. So again, remember that these energies of these planets with Uranus and Jupiter and Saturn are very volatile. While on the good side, they bring about great inventions and, technology, because again, that comes out of that volatility of the mind, right? We are not ready to be happy with what we have, so we look for better ways of doing things. That's that energy. But at the same time, on the earth side, on the physical side, this does cause problems in terms of unpredictability in weather, or earth changes or earthquakes. And the reason I give you these examples of past times when similar aspects have happened is because you can kind of see what that connection is, right? Now, I have seen that the one in 1906, the big earthquake that happened in San Francisco, the similar transit was happening. But at the same time, Uranus was not involved in this conjunction. This time, when this happens in August-September timeframe, Uranus is also in Taurus. So this is going to be a very unpredictable thing. It's going to be very sudden. And there is going to be a major issue in terms of earthquake or earth change around the world, or a huge storm or a tsunami or something that can cause a lot of problems. Huge innovations and huge discoveries, inventions are going to happen in the year 2024, much more than what we've seen in the past. I know that AI is here, and things are starting to show up in the area of AI, even though there seems to be some bugs that need to be fixed, right? It's always the case with new technology. But 2024 is a leap. Okay, this is not just small innovations or small steps that we take. These are big changes that are coming in this year. Okay, so because that's Jupiter Uranus, that's the energy of that conjunction, right? Like what happened in 1969. Now, another thing you have to remember is the unpredictability of Uranus when it comes with Jupiter is also a big issue here, because yes, I talked about man going to moon in 1969, but remember 1968 and 69, we saw a lot of assassinations. There were a lot of problems in terms of sudden news that was coming, which was shocking people. And that will also happen with this Jupiter-Uranus coming together, right? So the planet conjunctions doesn't mean just one thing. All those energies collide. So there are multiple meanings here. Now, going back to the month of May, when Jupiter goes into Taurus. Now, Taurus is the natural second house. So it rules finances, economy. It rules everything that has to do with the stock market, and all the financial things that happen in the world. Now, 2024, with Jupiter's movement into Taurus, is going to be big for the economy. Everything that we know as it stands today with finances and economy, there will be major changes that happen in the year 2024. And I think a lot of decisions were already made back in September when that other conjunction that I talked about in September happened. But we'll see it coming out into the open in the year 2024. Now, as the year goes on, 2024, like I said, August, September is going to be a little difficult, but at the same time, I think the most difficult months of the year is going to be October to December. Now, the reason I say that is because Mars once again goes into a weaker position, because once Mars moves into Cancer, it's in its debilitation sign. So November to December is very volatile, because Mars, being the planet of action, being in Cancer, which is a water sign, it's debilitated. So it does not know what action it should do. So it's out of control. And that's why whenever Mars is in Cancer, we notice that there are anger issues, there are rage issues, there is disagreements, there are wars, because that energy of Mars is not compatible with the sign of Cancer. Mars needs an earth sign like Capricorn, where it's exalted, for it to do its best work. But in Cancer, it's a little confused. So what happens is all that anger, all that righteousness and contention becomes misguided. So that's why whenever Mars goes into Cancer, we as astrologers, we watch it very closely, because this causes problems around the world. And November, December of 2024, when Mars is in Cancer, and specifically in December when it stations, there's a degree in Cancer where it stations, that's going to be a tough time, because Mars rules wars, and it rules riots, it rules all kinds of tumultuousness. And especially in the chart of United States, this is happening in the 8th house of transformative events. So I think right after the election, there's going to be something that has never happened before. Either there won't be a new president, or if there is a new president, there's going to be huge clashes and disagreements regarding that. There's going to be a major event in December. Now, this also is very important to remember that it's not just in United States. I was looking at that degree mark in Cancer, where Mars is stationed in December. And when I looked at the country charts, I saw a few countries that were getting triggered for that in the year 2024. France, Russia, Israel, India, and Canada. And of course, US. US is always going to be a big issue in the year 2024 because of, like I said, the Pluto return and the Sadhi, two big events happening, right? These are the other countries that were getting triggered in the year 2024 for major events, because almost all the big conjunctions that are happening in the year are triggering these countries' charts. So watch these countries. I'll give more details about each country, and I'll make a video for each country specifically to give you more details, but I'm giving you highlights right now, okay? Now, another thing to remember is that once this, at the end of this year, because of the 8th house energy and because of that Mars in Cancer energy, whatever happens this year is going to lay the foundation for new laws, new rules, new regulations. And the reason I say that is because we are starting this year with the month of January with a new moon in Sagittarius between the nodes. So remember, like I was telling you, whatever happens in January is setting the tone for the rest of the year. So regardless of all these events that are happening, August, September, and November, December, all those things, still, yes, it's tough, it's tumultuous, but it is going to give rise to a new foundation and new rules and regulations, which will make life much more peaceful after that. With that being said, given you a highlight of the year 2024, and I've talked about the month of January. I want to go into the sign by sign predictions to tell you how the month of January is going to be for you. And remember, this will set the tone for the whole year. Now, if your ascendant or your moon is in Aries, then this whole conjunction that is happening, the new moon and the movement of Mars and Sun and Mercury, everything's going to be in Sagittarius, which is your 9th house, which means that you're going to start off this year by learning some new things. You're going to pick up either a new subject that you want to learn, a new topic that you want to explore further on. It could bring an opportunity to travel because that's the 9th house. And also the fact that Jupiter is going direct in your 1st house, the 1st and the 9th are being triggered here, which means that this is going to be a time of expansion, growth, full speed forward in terms of everything that was stuck in your life. You will notice that you are able to do new things, you have new dreams, new ambitions, and actually not just in the sense that it's a dream, you are able to make or take definite action to make things happen. Why? Because Mars rules your 1st house and it's in the 9th house of luck and fortune. So this is an amazing time to start new projects, any new travels that you want to do. I'm sure you're traveling and you're learning new things. And the 1st house is your expansion, your goals, your aspirations. So that's the big thing that's happening for you in the month of January and going into the rest of the year. Now, 9th house is also the house of truth. So there is something that you're going to try and find out that you've been always wanting to know about. And that's why, when we talk about the 9th house, because it rules truth, is one of the reasons why it rules learning as well. Because learning starts with the pursuit of truth, right? You're trying to find out something. You're wanting to learn something, to understand more about something. So for Aries moon and Aries ascendant, the month of January is going to be very action oriented. Okay, the 1st house and the 9th house are getting triggered. Both are very fortunate houses, and you will see a lot of things happening. You'll be very busy this month. If you're a Taurus rising, Taurus ascendant, or a Taurus moon, then all the activities happening in the 8th house and the 12th house, which means that you are looking to find out something or figure out the truth about something. 8th house is about digging deep, about looking for those, the knowledge. That's why 8th house rules research, because you're not satisfied with what's on the surface. So you try to go deeper and find out more. So there's something that you're trying to figure out, and maybe something from the past, because the 12th house rules the past, and that's where Jupiter is going direct. You're trying to uncover secrets. You're trying to figure out maybe something about the financial market too, because the 8th house rules finances. And this can also be a very important time for psychic and intuitive strength. Your dreams are very vivid at this time. You will almost be able to predict the future with your dreams because they are like premonitions. Okay. Now, again, with that psychic ability and the intuitive strength, your thoughts about the past is also going to be very high. You will be trying to understand more about what things happened in the past, understand the depth of it, go to the bottom and figure out how to avoid the difficult events from happening again, or what to learn from the good events that have happened in the past. So this is a very, very self-introspective time for Taurus rising, Taurus moon individuals, and a great time for research and analysis. Anything that you wanted to find out more about, amazing time to do it. If you're Gemini ascendant or Gemini moon, then the whole conglomeration of planets is going to be in your 7th house, including the new moon. And you have Jupiter going direct with that exchange happening in the 11th house of friends and social organizations. This is important because the focus in the month of January is going to be your relationships. How to make your relationships better, What can you learn about your partner? What is it that is causing problems? Because you see, Mars is sitting in the seventh house. It can cause disagreements in relationships, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because with that exchange of Jupiter going into the 11th, it can mean that you have the positive outlook to figure things out, to make your relationship better. Because you're not looking at this in a pessimistic way. You're very optimistic about making things work because of that exchange. You see why exchange is very important. Why is this parivartana so important? Because that planet is influencing the activities of that Mars. Jupiter is influencing Mars. So it means that even though Mars is bringing those disagreements and arguments in the relationship or your business partnership, Jupiter is giving it the knowledge to understand how do we learn more from this? How do we evolve from this? How do we make this relationship better? Not only your romantic relationships, but also your business partnerships. Okay, so look for those little things that you can learn from during this month because it's going to happen. Now, if you're not married, if you're not in a relationship, you could be meeting somebody, possibly through your friends or through a social setting, because that exchange between the 7th and the 11th is friends, 7th is relationships. So you could be meeting somebody interesting. You could be meeting a lot of new people this month with Jupiter going direct in the 11th house of friends. But it's connected to the 7th house of partnership, business or romantic partnerships. So I think there's going to be a connection between the two. Either you're going to start a business with a friend or you're going to meet somebody who is really interesting in terms of a relationship partner. So this is a very fun time. Okay, so make use of the opportunities that Jupiter is bringing in the 11th house of friends and social organizations. And another thing, when it comes to if you have older siblings, you could be more connected to them this month because 11th house rules older siblings. Okay. Cancer ascendant or a Cancer moon, then this means that the Mars, Mercury, Sun, new moon, everything is happening in your 6th house. And you have Jupiter going direct in the 10th house. For Cancer rising or Cancer moon individuals, the most important thing that's going to happen this month is work. Okay, work-related changes, work-related issues. There could be co-workers or employees who you have disagreements with, but because Jupiter is in the 10th house, this brings about great expansion in your career. You understand how to deal with these problems. You make things better. Right? We are always thinking about positive because that Jupiter is bringing that energy to the Mars. It's saying, yes, it's causing those problems there, but Jupiter is bringing expansion and it's bringing enlightenment in that area. So it's all about work, but also about health. 6th house is your health. So Cancer rising, Cancer moon individuals are really focused on their health, daily routine. They're making changes in those areas. If you have a New Year's resolution, you will be able to do it because you have Mars sitting in the 6th house, which means you have the willpower this year. So make sure that if you're a Cancer rising, Cancer moon, have one of those New Year's resolutions that is to make your health better because this is the year that'll happen, especially with this parivartana happening between Mars and Jupiter. It's about your health improvement, your work improvement. You could possibly be looking for a better job, or you could get a promotion or a raise this year because Jupiter is going direct in your 10th house. And it's about having a good work environment. Even though that Mars can cause some problems with your coworkers, you will make the best of it. You will learn more and you will improve those situations. Now, if you're a Leo rising or a Leo moon, then the Mars, Mercury, Sun, new moon, everything happens in the 5th house, and you have Jupiter going direct in the 9th house. This is also a very auspicious time because the 5th and 9th are two of the best houses in the astrology chart. So for Leo rising, Leo moon individuals, this is a time of creativity. bringing new things into this world. Entrepreneurship, fifth house rules entrepreneurship, new businesses, new ideas, new expansion. If you already have a business, you're thinking about new ways to expand it. Writing, fifth house is the authorship, or the house that rules writing. So you could be thinking about new writing projects, or pick up journal writing or something. You're very close to your children. If you have children, you're very close to your children this month. They could be extra strong-willed because Mars is sitting in the fifth house, so there'll be more sense of independence coming from your children. If you don't have children, this is the month where you could be thinking about expanding your family, because you have all these planets sitting in the fifth house of children, which brings that thought and energy and the positive opportunity to do that. This is an amazing month for that, to expand your family, to have more children, or to think about those aspects in your life. Now, there will be traveling happening, a lot of traveling, because ninth house rules long distance travel. It rules learning. So with the fifth and ninth exchange happening, you could be learning about fifth house related matters. It could be astrology, it could be entrepreneurship, it could be a new business that you create, or how to create a new business. You're really curious about all these things. So this is amazing that this exchange is happening, and this transit for Leo rising and Leo moon. If your Virgo rising, that is, if your ascendant is in Virgo or your moon is in Virgo, then this is the year for change in where you live. Or it could be that you're looking to renovate your current home, because the Mars, Mercury, Sun, new moon combination, everything is happening in your fourth house of home, real estate, assets, and property. And another thing is, if your mother is around, then this is a time you will be visiting your mother, or you'll be very close to your mother, or making calls, or talking more to your mother, connecting more. And if your mother is not around, this is a time when those memories will come back, or you will be thinking about your mother a lot, because the fourth house rules the mother. Fourth house rules family. You're very close to your family in this time frame, because all these planets are sitting in the fourth house. Fourth house rules vehicles. This is a time that you may be thinking about getting a new vehicle. Now, Jupiter is sitting in the eighth house and going direct. So this is a time of introspection for you. You are thinking about how to save better, how to bring more balance to your financial things, or how do you want to invest so that you can have a better financial future. You're thinking about all those money related things. But at the same time, eighth house is deep. You are really looking at changing your thoughts, your way of thinking, your deep, deep transformation is happening this year. Maybe that's one of your New Year resolutions that you're making, because the eighth house is transformative. So it will bring you the ability to make those changes happen in your life. But this is deep introspection. For Libra ascendant or Libra moon, Jupiter is going direct in the seventh house of relationships. So this is a time when your relationships will start doing better. You would have seen a lot of problems in the last few months with the retrograde Jupiter and Uranus sitting there, but you will notice that going into the month of January, things start improving tremendously. Your partner starts doing well too in their own life, in their own work and job, or growth. They're doing better too, because that's the seventh house. If you're in a business, your business starts picking up more clients, because that's, Jupiter going direct there. Now, the connection is the third house and the seventh house, because you have the Mars, Mercury, new moon combination happening in the third house, which is the house of learning, traveling, and teaching. So you are looking to learn some new things. You want to pick up new ideas, new projects. You could be picking up writing. If there's a writing project that has been kind of on hold for the past few months, this is a time this will get completed, because all these planets, including Mars, the planet of action, being in the third house, is going to give you the energy to complete that work. And the anchoring with the seventh house, it's connecting to your business, your relationships, and you are really learning a lot from your partner. You could be even entering a business partnership with your spouse because of this connection. Third house is siblings. So this is a month when you could be connecting with your siblings. If they are not nearby, you could be making calls, you could be connecting more often, more frequently. There could be an issue that had happened with one of your siblings, or maybe a disagreement that happened in the past few months that will get resolved this month. Because even though Mars is in the third house of conflicts, it is bringing that Jupiter's essence, is healing that relationship. Okay, so this is a time to connect with your siblings at this time. If you're Scorpio ascendant or Scorpio moon, then the Jupiter going direct is happening in your sixth house. And also the connection of Mars and Sun and the new moon and Mercury, everything is happening in your second house. Now, the second house is the food that you eat. It's your appetite, your digestion, your diet. The sixth house is also your house of health and digestion. So when you have these two connected through a parivartana, you are really thinking about changing your health practices this year. Could be your New Year's resolution. You might be thinking of changing your diet or your day-to-day routine in order to make your health better, and you will be able to do it because of Jupiter going direct in the sixth house of health. Now, with the Mars being in the second house, watch what you're saying, because what your speech, the second house rules your speech, can be misinterpreted and misunderstood. And you may seem a little harsh when you say things. So be a little careful when I know you're trying to kind of say the truth, because, sign of Sagittarius is all about the truth. But what you're saying or the way you're saying it may hurt emotions or feelings. So you may be a little careful about that this month. Now, you are also thinking about your financial situation, because all these planets in the second house bring that thought to you where you want to expand your finances, or you want to do something more to make more money, or you want to learn how to save. Now, money will come to you this month, but there may also be a lot of expenses happening because Mars is sitting in the second house. It usually causes expenditure. So don't worry about that, because it's going to get better as you go towards further into this year. But it will also teach you very valuable lessons about saving and investing to make things better in future. If you're a Sagittarius ascendant or a Sagittarius moon, then the month of January is going to start new beginnings for you, because all the energy is happening in your first house, and it's anchored by your fifth house of creativity, limitless creativity. You are totally trying to find out all these new things that you want to do. Everything that was blocked in the last few months, everything's starting to move forward. You have great ideas. You want to travel. Now, the fifth house is writing, entrepreneurship, creative potential. And it's going to bring a lot of opportunities for you, because the new moon is happening in the first house. It's new beginnings. You're thinking about what more can you do that's outside of what you've been doing already. And this is going to be a great new beginning for Sagittarius ascendants and Sagittarius moons. Also, another thing is children. You are more connected with your children at this time. You are traveling more with them. You are working more with them. There is a good connection going on there because of the Jupiter going direct. Because, the retrograde Jupiter the past few months could have caused some disagreements with your children. Things are going to resolve and heal now, going into the month of January. If you don't have children, Jupiter transiting, going direct in your fifth house will bring you the opportunity to have a child this year, because this is in the fifth house of creativity and children, right? So this is all about your potential. You may be thinking about starting a new business, or you want to start writing a new book. This will give you great energy to move forward with those plans. And like I said, it's limitless. The creative potential that you have as a Sagittarius ascendant, it's limitless. Now, if you're a Capricorn ascendant or a Capricorn moon, then a lot of activity is happening in your 12th house. What that means is that, one, it means that you're trying to end or complete things that you've started in the past. Life is giving you an opportunity to close things. It may be related to real estate or property because Jupiter is in the fourth house going direct, which means that it's connected with that 12th house. So there could be like a property that you're trying to sell, or maybe there's something you're trying to purchase. There's definitely a change in home. If it hasn't happened yet in the last year, it's going to happen in this coming year because Jupiter is going direct in your fourth house of home, real estate, assets, and property. And with the 12th house energy, you're trying to complete projects, you're trying to end things because you want to start a new beginning now. Now, it could be the stress of all this that could cause some problems with sleep because all these malefic planets are sitting in your 12th house. So I want you to be extra careful with your meditation practices or your self-calming practices because you will need that to find the ability to sleep peacefully, because all these planets in the 12th house can cause disruption to sleep because you're thinking. Your mind is constantly thinking. You need to calm it down. And you need to remember everything that's happening is happening for a reason. For Capricorn rising, this is a chance at a new beginning. But because of the 12th house energy, you have to close what you already have. So this is where you'll get the opportunity and the energy to end those projects so that you can start new ones. You're also very psychic during this time frame, so pay attention to that intuition because the 12th house is your psychic ability. It will bring a lot of past memories back to you. It may be memories of the house that you're letting go, or you're going to have a lot of those past things coming back. Or you may be buying a new house, which will bring some past memories back to you. But either way, there's going to be a change in where you live, or you're going to renovate your current home, and you're going to really think about closing or ending those chapters of your life that you have completed, because that's a 12th house energy. There may be some foreign travels too this year because the 12th house is connected to that fourth house. So you may be looking to travel to a foreign place or which you feel is like home, or you want to purchase a property in a foreign land. That's possible too because the fourth and the 12th house is connected. So this is definitely a very interesting year in a good way for you, but you will have to complete your old projects and end those and finish them in a good way before you can move forward. If you have your ascendant in Aquarius or your moon in Aquarius, this is the time where this whole year is going to be about your siblings, because you have Jupiter going direct in the third house of younger siblings, and you have the Mars, Sun, new moon, Mercury, all of that in the 11th house of older siblings. So you would have noticed that there's a lot of activity in the area of siblings. Either you're talking more to them or there is more contention going on. Either ways, this will bring you closer to your siblings. Now, this is also the year for traveling and meeting a lot of new people, because third house is the house of travels and 11th house is friends and social circles. So you are really connecting those two. You're bringing new opportunities together. You may be starting a new business with a friend, like I was saying. Or it could mean that you're traveling, you're meeting new people, you're picking up new things to learn. You want to start learning new things. You want to improve yourself. You want to improve your business or your job or your work. Now, third house is also writing. Now, Jupiter going direct in the third house means you have great willpower this year. So anything that you've kind of felt like you were not able to stick with in the past, this year you are going to be able to do it because Jupiter is direct in the third house. Now, watch a little bit, watch your expenses a little bit, because I noticed that, whenever these planets are there in the 11th house, which is, to do with gains and money, you may be a little prone to overspending. So that's just something to watch this year, especially, with everything that's happening in the coming year. Just watch your expenses. Going into the month of January, all the energy is focused on the 10th house of career. So you are looking to really revamp your career, or you're starting something brand new, a business, a new job. You want to look for a new opportunity. because Jupiter is going direct in your second house of money, finances, and wealth. And this is a good thing because, this material wealth and material benefits is going to be the trend of this year. With Jupiter going direct there and it's ruling the 10th house, it's wealth through your career that you're looking for. And also with all these planets in the 10th house, your energy, your Martian action-related, action-oriented energy is directed towards your career. That is the single most important thing to you right now. And that's what you will be focusing on. And you will be successful this year with your new venture, new business, new career, or new money-making opportunity because second house, right? Now, another thing is you will be really watchful about your diet this year because Jupiter is in the second house of food that you consume. And you're also going to be very optimistic and hopeful in terms of what you say to people. Because sometimes, being Pisces and not to mention Saturn being in your 12th house, the past few months you have felt a little down. You have felt a little pessimistic. But Jupiter moving direct in the second house of speech, you're going to start feeling more optimistic because things are going to come to you. Opportunities will come to you. So this is going to be a year of growth and expansion for you. And like I said, you will watch your diet, your nutrition, your health. That's definitely going to be there. And you'll meet a lot of new people through your job or your work as well, through the new business. So this is definitely a good thing for Pisces ascendant or Pisces moon. So with that being said, that's my take on the coming year. I gave you a few highlights, but I'll be making more detailed videos about each country and such going into the month of January. And I've given you the sign-by-sign predictions for January. So in closing, I would like to wish you a very happy and prosperous new year, 2024. And I thank you once again for the amazing love and support that you've shown for me this year. Thank you.